I did farmers like 4 or 5 days ago for the first time, and like I don't know, it was a long time. Probably since some of these videos I'm going to go back um, and reference here. So I didn't know what to expect. I just kind of like went into it. The goal was to work up to a pretty difficult weight per hand for like 10, 15, 20 feet, somewhere in there. And the reason I cut it short is two reasons really. One, I just don't have a whole lot of space. Like this is the space you can see without going outside. It was kind of cold and rainy that day. I just didn't feel like going outside. It's actually easier setup to go outside versus inside because inside you have to like I had to like rearrange a bunch of stuff, and it really would have just been easier to go outside. But the second reason, and kind of like the main reason, I guess, like not initially, but it ended up being the main reason. If I had more distance, I would have gone further, and this wrecked me. Like these farmers are always really, really difficult for me to recover from. I guess not difficult, but like more difficult than other stuff. So I've got pretty long arms, and like it does something like with my lats, like when it's hard to explain. It's kind of painful. Like it does. They don't really feel that great. I really don't like doing farmers a whole lot. But just with some of the stuff that's kind of there's some new things going on in the strongman world. So that's why I'm doing them. Just working them in. So I had no idea what to expect. I just went into it totally. I don't know, no expectation really. I thought it would be neat to hit like high twos, like 275, somewhere around there. I thought that would be cool. Um, Especially after having not done it for so long. But traditionally with farmers, I'm great at the pick. Pick doesn't really bother me. It's not necessarily the walking; it's my grip. Like I don't really work on it enough, to be honest. That's probably why. But so I'm going to go over a couple of things here. I got two recent videos and then a couple of old videos, and I'm going to go back and reference and show a few differences. Um, but the main point of this video, I guess I should have said this a while ago, is to just go over the difference between top-loaded farmers and front-to-back loaded farmers, because there is a big difference, especially when you're going for heavier weight. There's a tremendous difference, and it's not really something that I've really thought about too much in the past. And I feel like the top-loaded farmers they're just easier to load and all that. So most of the time, I will go for those. But I don't think so anymore. It's all about the intent of it. It's like it's whatever the circumstance is. That's the handle you should go with. I'll get into that a little bit more on, but I'm just going to show two clips, and then I'm going to go back and show another clip. And first, I'll see if you guys can see the difference, and then I will explain the difference. So here is the first one. This is 300 per hand.
Come on, come on. Move those feet. Keep going, almost there.
And the hold actually felt pretty good. I could have kept holding it.
That's easy.
I should have left that part off. But anyways, so here's the second one. This is 320 per hand. I weighed everything individually after this, so weights should be pretty dead on. It's like 317.6 or something. Okay, I gotta go back. Okay, so we're gonna watch that pick again.
Oh, forgot the 30.
Pretty dirty.
Nice.
Few reasons why. But overall, that was a really dirty pick, and I'm very particular with technical stuff. I very rarely have any of my lifters go to failure on anything. Technical stuff is very important, especially as I've gotten older. Like I just realized, just do things different. So last time I played this, everything felt great except for one thing. Okay, so now we're going to go to, let's see, we'll do this one first. Okay, so this is front and back loaded farmers now. The date on this is February, it's like February, somewhere between February 12th and 18th, 2022. So we are looking at what, like a 10-month-ish difference, 9-month difference. Yikes. Okay, so this is not the same weight yet. We will get there, but I'm just going to run through these really quick. so you can see a couple things. Okay, so there's that run. Okay, we'll get that one out of there, and now we will go to the next run, which is here. Get me out of the way a little bit. Okay, so we're getting, this is another 100 pounds in total weight from the last set. Okay, so I'm letting one thing happen here. I don't feel it when I'm doing it. I mean, maybe a little bit. This is, this is like 10 months ago, so it's hard to say. So there's the second one. This was not as clean of a walk, in my opinion. But that's not really what we're looking at right now. And you'll see why in a second. Okay, so here is, this is the same weight, actually. Same weight as that last set. Much cleaner. Much cleaner. Okay, and then the last one, which is now, this is 300 per hand. You need to get better at that. So I see it's not the cleanest pick. This is a terrible walk. This felt like absolute hell. It felt super heavy. None of it, no part of it felt good. But so one thing that does happen is, like, you can see my knees shooting in. That's happened on almost all of these picks. Is my knees are shooting in. See that? I don't really feel it too much in the moment, kinda. And that never happens with me. Like, I never do that with traditional deadlifts, with trap bar deadlifts, with card deadlift, with squatting. Knees just don't shoot in. So, what could it be? I mean, there's a couple things, like the handles play a big role, and that's mostly what I'm going to talk about. But for me, as an individual, I think I've got like some glute medial weakness, and maybe some like other external rotator things that are going on that are just like not as strong. I could also probably adjust my stance a little bit, because like my feet come in quite a bit. So I have like when I walk, my feet end up this direction a little bit more, and I've got like a lot of foot issues, so that's not really something that I'm really going to be able to fix. Okay, but there's one big thing that's going on here between the front and back loaded farmers and then the top loaded farmers. It's a very, 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 very significant thing, and I'm going to go back to a different video. So first I'll play this one again. It does not happen here to the same degree. It's much different. Okay. So that was not a very clean run. Looks much more difficult. Now, if I go to the 300 run from the most recent, this one is so much cleaner. Come on. Knees are still shooting in.
Move those feet.
I think my stance is a little bit more narrow with the pick. So like overall, I think this pick is better. My grip has gotten a lot better. The walking is a lot better.
Almost there.
I felt super strong here, okay? But as soon as I got to the 320, I'm not even going to worry about the knee shooting in. But what ends up happening is the handles turn in, which ends up kind of like changing the line of the pull. And if I zoom in, I'm gonna see if I can. I don't know if it's not gonna work. But watch along here. It's gonna be really hard to see. But if I played like the extended version of the video, I talk about it a little bit, because I always do that. Like I finish a set and then I just say what was wrong with it. But on this one, if you watch closely, you can hear and see popping, or not. You can't see popping, but you can hear popping. So here we go.
Oh,
she actually thought it was my body popping. It's not my body. Turn all the way up.
Oh, forgot to say Nice.
It's the neoprene. It's my fingers on neoprene. So I'll go back to here. Okay, so this is what happens. and this is I feel like this is a more significant issue with top loaded farmers than with the side loaded farmers. My stance feels good here, but the problem is my arms are slightly like out at an angle and not straight down. With traditional farmers, dang it. I say traditional farmers, but you know what I mean. With farmers like this, you can pull them in closer because like they will roll towards you, right? This is like picking up a sideways barbell, whereas the other one is like a frame. So what happens is the handles will tilt. Okay, when they tilt, that ends up changing how your arm is set from being like out here to in here. Okay, and when that happens, the weight kind of displaces a little bit differently, and like it can cause that internal rotation. So the internal rotation of my knees here and the coming in and all that stuff, that's a muscular weakness thing. Like there's something going on that's not allowing me to stay in that strong of a position. Okay, so if you watch my arms, they pretty much stay exactly in line. Okay, ignore my knees. I am not talking about my knees. I am talking about my arms and all the other stuff. I have no knee sleeves on here, okay? But the rotation or the inward tilt of the handle is not nearly the same. And I can keep that relatively that same line of pull all the way up. Okay? Now what happens with top-loaded farmers is as you start to pull, they rotate in much more. It's almost like the weight on the ground is it's like a I don't know what words I'm trying to use here, but basically it changes the pull. It changes a lot, and so like all this pressure is now collapsing in on you, and so what happens is my fingers get caught on the neoprene, and that right there you can see right there. That is a terrible spot to be. I'm a little bit too much extended at the hips and knees, for compared to where my upper body is. Like this is a little bit too much pressure. I would imagine it would be a lot of pressure on my low back, but where I felt it was in this trap. Like it was pulling me down so hard that it felt, I don't know if I had extended the time of the pull, like maybe another second or two, I might have ended up tearing something because it did not feel normal. It felt pretty bad. And then afterwards I had like some pain and like some, I don't want to call it like a knot or adhesion or whatever, but I had to do some soft tissue work on it for quite a while to get it to chill out. It feels okay now, but that's pretty much, that's the big difference. So like you're not gonna catch me using these top load handles so much because it makes a huge difference. Like with the amount of weight, once you get into the heavier weights, it starts to make it just makes a huge difference. Like it's really pulling in on everything. And if you can, it doesn't matter how good you set up for the initial pick, it's gonna get fucked. So, yeah, I have never really thought about this until now. Like these are way easier to load. Like they're just more convenient in general. But when it comes to like doing heavy farmers and stuff, I think this is a good way to, I mean, potentially get hurt. You know, like with a frame, this is all connected, and so everything stays rigid. But with the farmers like this, and they end up tilting in, and that it could have been a lot worse. Honestly, I should have set it down and reset and like try it again, but I don't know. With me and farmers, it's just like once it's there, like when it's there, it's there. When it's not, it's not. So I knew that if I just stuck it out, it would go. But yeah, so that's a huge difference. So I'm most of the time with my athletes, I will like specify top loaded, front loaded, back loaded, unless it literally doesn't matter. If it's so light, it really doesn't matter too much. But when it gets heavier, it does. Plus, if you're like setting it down and repicking it a lot, like that makes a difference too. Another thing I think might have played a role is if you see the amount of clearance I got with my legs here, like the pole or whatever is like 9 inches, standard barbell height 9 inches, so it's 9 inches over, like right in the middle of my leg, bottom of the calf or whatever. And then here, this is also a higher pick too. This is an 18-inch pick, and this is a 15-inch pick or something. So this should not have looked like that. It should have looked a little bit better. But what was I saying? The clearance. So like I can't get my feet as far under here, which makes a little bit of a difference as well. So these are all just things that I'm going to have to play with. But so how can you apply this to your own training? few different things. If you're if you know what, if you're getting ready for a show and you know what type of farmer's implement you're going to use, stick with that style. If it's top loaded, stick with top loaded. If it's side loaded, stick with side loaded. But if you have the choice, I would go with the side loaded more often than not. Just, I know the top loaded are convenient, but the side loaded is more often than not what you're going to see in competition. It's also, it's going to prevent this stuff from happening. But if you are, if it's like a distance farmers or a speed farmers or a super light farmers, it's not going to matter as much. But when it gets into the heavy farmers, max weight for distance, or if you have to do a lot of picks, like if it's like 20 feet, drop it, turn yourself, pick it back up. Like I would stick with the side loaded because it's going to make that pick a lot more consistent. So that's all I got. I was pretty happy with these, but it could always be better. So, yep. All right, that's it. I'm going to stop there. Thanks for watching.